Hello, Dr. Paul Borosky here, owner of Quality Business Plan. And what I'd like to do today for this video is to give you all some highlights of what's included in my Apple 2024 financial report. All right, let's jump right into it. And first up is going to be the table of contents for the Apple 2024 financial report. This report is broken up into three segments, which is going to be the income statement, the balance sheet, and then finally the financial ratios. So let's go ahead and examine each one of the segments briefly. The first section that my company report starts off with is going to be Apple's income statement. And what I do is I summarize Apple's income statements for the last 5 years, and I put that into my financial model. And the last 5 years covered starts at 2020, goes all the way to 2024. And then I summarize their line items, for example, revenues, gross profits, research and development, all the way down to net income. Also, I take their information from their 10Ks. Once the section is done, then it leads into the line item review. And so what I'll do is I extrapolated information for each line item or important line items for the income statement. For example, revenues. I went ahead and defined revenues. I give you the definition in layman's terms, and then I give you some analysis tips for that line item. And then finally, I do offer an analysis of that line item, and my analysis is optimized by AI. And as what I'll do, I'll go ahead and give you the line item, for example, revenues. And then sometimes I'll go ahead and I'll add some information. For example, I'll compare it with revenue growth. I'll provide an analysis, and then I'll give you an analyst grade. All right, let's go ahead and jump into the next section now. The second section in my Apple 2024 company report is going to be the balance sheet section. And I start this section with a summarized version of the balance sheet for Apple. And I do that from 2020 all the way to 2024. I'll go ahead and summarize important line items and I'll put it into my balance sheet. And then once that is done, the next part of this section is going to be is that I identify important line items in the balance sheet. I'll go ahead and define that line item. I'll give you that definition in layman's terms. Then I'll give you some analysis tips for that line item. And then finally, I'll go ahead and provide an analysis. And again, the analysis is optimized with AI. And then finally, you'll get an analysis grade. All right, let's go ahead and go into the third and final section, which is the financial ratios. For the final section, I talk about Apple's 2024 financial ratios, and I break up the ratios into 4 categories, which are going to be your liquidity ratios, profitability ratios, asset ratios, and then debt ratios. All right, and the ratio section looks something like this. So it'll start off with a summarized version of the various ratios that I cover. I'll give you the names of the ratios, and I'll also give you the calculations that I used for the ratios. And then I'll also summarize the findings for each one of the ratios. For example, Apple 2024, their current ratio for 2024 was 0.87, 23 was 0.99, and 22 was 0.88, and then so on and so forth. All right, and then once I'm done with the summary section, I go ahead and go into the individual ratios, the important individual ratios. I'll go ahead and define those ratios. I'll give you all the formula for those ratios, and then I'll go ahead and give you the definition in layman's terms. I'll give you some analysis tips that you can use to go ahead and analyze the ratio. And then finally, I do provide y'all with the calculations for the ratio. And then finally, I do provide an analysis that is, again, optimized with AI. And I give you a final analyst grade. All right, hopefully this information was helpful. So let's go ahead and wrap it up and sum it up. And in summary, if y'all are interested in purchasing my Apple company report, just visit my website right here. And the company report does come with a PDF file. It does not include the Excel financial model, so to keep that in mind. And hopefully this information was helpful. If you like it, go ahead and give me a like and subscribe. All right, have a great one. Thanks.